All the wheels have not completely come off the wagon. Starting pitching for the Astros has been stellar this season, continues to be stellar. While their bullpen ERA has fallen to eighth, they still own the best team ERA, which is led by their starting pitching. With Urquidy now throwing bullpen sessions, and kind of the sustained performances from JP France and others, how confident are we that they can maintain this momentum from their starting pitching?
My only concern is workload. If it catches up, Fromber's money. He's durable. He's a horse. He threw 200 innings last year, well over 150 the year before that. So Fromber's money in the bank, pitching like a legit ace Cy Young Award candidate. Javier really hadn't been dominant this year. He'd been very good overall, but he's striking out under one batter per inning. He's giving up many more hits per 9 innings. Or more hits per 9 innings than he did last year, right? The last 2 months of last year, the guy was damn near unhittable. This year, he's been good. He's certainly pitching as a worthy number 2 starter. Does he have a gear shift up in the second half, or as he's on pace to blow past his prior career high in innings pitched the second year in a row, is that worrisome? Obviously, Hunter Brown has never pitched a full season of major league innings, never more than 120 innings as a pro. We've seen the spotting of the 6-man rotation, but Hunter Brown's still on pace for 160, 170 innings. If he doesn't wilt, if Javier doesn't wilt, they're rock solid 1, 2, 3. It's cross your fingers after that the league doesn't get more data on France. Blanco's acquitted himself well, but the Astros don't have the advantage when they pitch their 4th and 5th starters each time out, as they did when you had a healthy Garcia, a healthy Urquidy. But if 4th and 5th starters, unless you're just getting smashed with the guys you're throwing out there, if that's your biggest problem, you're in pretty good shape. I don't think it's their biggest problem.
Yeah, starting pitching, that's what's keeping them in this. That's why they still have a winning record. And you talked about Fromber, legit ace. He's got the second best ERA in baseball right now, 2.27. You can't ask for much more than that from him. Javier's 22nd in ERA at 3.25. Not terrible for, your second starter being 22nd. Hunter Brown's 30th, sitting at 3.62. So for your top 3 guys, that's pretty good. To put it in perspective, all 3 of them have better ERAs than Charlie Morton and Spencer Strider. So, they're doing their part. And then Charlie mentioned JP France. I've been impressed with him. He's now up to 9 starts, sitting at a 3.54 ERA. 30 starts in a major league season is considered, a good season for a starting pitcher. He's a third of the way there, 3.5 ERA. You'll take that. So I've been impressed with the pitching. It's the bullpen, and they got to score more runs. And to Charlie's point, you're counting on some young guys that haven't done this before. You got to be careful with them, but so far so good.
It has been interesting to see it, in some ways disappointing to see the starters that don't get credited for wins for their starts, which is why, a pitcher's win-loss record really means nothing other than just a fun stat to track and perhaps a differentiator in a Cy Young race. But let's talk about the Cy Young, because Fromber is a guy who seems to fly under the radar when it comes to these Cy Young conversations. What does he have to do? Is it just a matter because the Astros just are, barely above, 500 and kind of vacillating between second and third in the division? There's just bigger stories to tell. What does Fromber have to do to really get the attention of the national media and really insert himself into that conversation about being a legit Cy Young candidate?
Oh, I think he's on the board, legit. The win total at 7-4. If he beats the Cardinals Tuesday night, he's at the midway point at 8-4. If you double that to 16-8, we're in an era where you don't have to win 18, 20 games to be a Cy Young contender anymore. Hope Ohtani isn't just going to win everything, as incredible as he is. Shane McClanahan's probably been the other super elite starting pitcher so far this season. Left his last start for the Rays with a stiff back. Was that just a hiccup? Or if he suffers some downtime, does that take him out? The Yankees have a big second half, make the playoffs, and Garrett Cole pitches like an ace. He's a guy who's in the mix. But Fromber is going to check boxes of starts made and innings pitched works. And you mentioned the ERA data. And it's not as if he's anonymous off what he did last year, 18-5? So I think Fromber's in the thick of it, and if he finishes the year with a sub 2.30 earned run average, he's going to show up on Cy Young ballots.
Yeah, he's got a shot. It's, him taking those losses early in the season, to Brandon's point, where you get some good starting pitching and then they don't always come away with the W. So Fromber's going to need to make that up a little bit. He's not the tip top of guys with strikeouts. Garrett Cole gets a few more than him, but it's not as if it's bad. He's got 104 strikeouts now in 99 innings. So, more than one per inning. That's pretty good. So Fromber's just got to keep it up, and he'll be right in it at the end.
Yeah, Nathan Eovaldi's had a heck of a season with the Rangers. I want to see him hold up for a full season. So on Fromber, if you really want to kick up a notch, a Cy Young candidacy, right? We're inside 2 weeks now to the All-Star break. Astros 5.5 back of the Rangers. Probably not going to gain any ground before the series in Arlington opens on Friday. I'd say the Astros take 2 out of 3 in St. Louis. The Cardinals stink. Well, the Rangers are home for 4 against the Tigers, who stink. So if the Rangers take 3 out of 4, the Astros take 2 out of 3. The Astros are 6 back of the Rangers going into Arlington this weekend, 4-game series, where I would say it's close to imperative the Astros get at least a split. Right? If you're 6 back, you go in there, you lose 3 out of 4 to the Rangers, you're 8 games back, and you're in deep, deep trouble in the division. Still a lot of baseball left. And you look at the schedules straight out of the All-Star break, there's some advantage Astros there. But if you're 8 games out July 4th, the odds are against you winning the division. Well, say the Astros go up into Arlington and take 3 out of 4 from the Rangers. And the way the pitching maps out, Framber Valdez is going to start one of those games.
Yep.
So the Astros win the series, and Framber snuffs Semien and Seager and Garcia and Heim and Lowe and that beastly Rangers lineup. That's an attention getter. If Fromber has a big season start against the team you're chasing down, and by the way, the Astros are gaining ground, which would only heighten the Astros mention in all the name games. Hunter Brown for Rookie of the Year. Jordan's dead in the water for MVP, unless they all get hurt and miss a lot of time. Right? Ohtani might not have to play after the All-Star break. Yeah. He wrapped up at this point. But Aaron Judge, his toe's messed up. The Yankees have no idea when he's going to come back. But if you pitch really well, Felix Hernandez won a Cy Young Award at 13 and 12 a few years ago with the Mariners. We're in a more enlightened age where it's not just about wins. So if Fromber keeps Frombering, he's a real Cy Young candidate. But obviously, if he's a driving force in the Astros overtaking the Rangers, it further enhances his chances.
Last week, Evan Drellich decided he needed some clicks, so he kind of invoked a quote from Rob Manfred talking about, his regrets on how he dealt with the sign stealing scandal. Apparently, national broadcast can't feature a Dodgers-Astros matchup without reiterating the history of the 2017 World Series, while also failing to mention that the Astros actually won another World Series last year. So how much does that, I guess I'll feature this as our bottom line here. So we'll do this on the way out. So my bottom line question to you is this, is how much does that media narrative and continuing to churn up something that happened 6-7 years ago, how much does this continue to dampen chances of somebody like Fromber getting votes in a Cy Young, maybe just because, you know what? Screw the Astros.
I really think not at all. It is tired. It's part of the permanent record, and that other teams cheated, whatever. The Astros were the one caught doing 70 and a 55. If everyone else is speeding and the cop pulls you over, it's your ticket. But Verlander and Cole went 1-2 in the Cy Young Award. Verlander was on the cheating Astros. Right? Framber Valdez was nowhere close to being on the Astros at that point. So any voter who's going to go back to 2017, 2018 and hold against Framber Valdez in 2023, come on. It's 2023. He's nowhere close to having an MVP candidate year. But if Alex Bregman was having a monster year, holding 2018 against Alex Bregman would be pretty pathetic at this point. To hold it whatsoever against Framber Valdez, it's the kind of thing that should have a vote taken away.
Yeah, I agree. People aren't, and fans, they're not reasonable people. So I could see all-star votes, that kind of thing where the fans vote. But, for Cy Young, that's not a fan vote thing. So I hate to see it. It feels like every summer we get some new non-story about 2017 that everybody talks about for 3 or 4 days. It seems to happen every year. I guess Drellich needs some money for his kid's college fund or something, but the national media is happy to pick it up because they know it gets page views. I saw it all over social media, and to me, it was a non-story. With the collective bargaining agreement, I don't even think Manfred had the opportunity to penalize the Astros, but we know this. With John Boy, all the Astros scandal stuff, it doesn't have to be legit. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be historically accurate. They're just looking for page views, and they know that they can get baseball fans all riled up when you talk about the Astros.
I really think the story was Commissioner Manfred admits he's not absolutely perfect. A brief moment of non-arrogance from Rob Manfred. I mean, that was the story, not the Astros story. I mean, he could have tried to drop the hammer, but then he had all sorts of grievances and lawsuits, and that would have been risking owners' money. So the commissioner, whether trying to just polish up his own apple on this, well, gee, I might not have handled that perfectly, is a big whatever.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.